Hare Krishna to all the devotees at Wellington. Thank you so much for inviting me to your Sangha. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhayascha kripa sindhubhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar Bhagwan ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. तुलसी महारानी की जय. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरुवृंद की जय. हिज होलीनेस जय पताका स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय. Hare Krishna. So it's a pleasure and privilege to be part of your Shravan Utsav, and thank you so much for inviting me. So all of you have very happy faces, and thank you for such a sweet introduction and kind invitation. But I just hope at the end of the class you still have those same happy faces, because I have this very, very bad habit of speaking for longer than I'm asked to, because somehow I always feel that I'm not doing justice to the topic and I end up speaking a little more. See, just now as I speak that, devotees are putting the clock right in front of me to show me the time. So I just hope that I can just complete in the time you've asked me to. But even if I go a little bit, longer, which I tend to do, you can always switch off your video and bear me for, a little longer, and I'll complete this topic. So especially because this chapter is one of my favorites. Of course, anything connected to Krishna is so sweet and nice, but somehow Krishna killing the demons is not in my favorite list. Somehow I don't enjoy it so much. My children enjoy it. My kids, both my sons, they love those chapters where Krishna is killing the demons and the way he's whirling them around, and But for me, this is in my favorite list. Akrura's arrival in Vrindavan is my favorite list. And also, this chapter is so important because the goal of our life is to go back home, back to Godhead, Goloka Vrindavan. And so how should be our mood? What will qualify us to enter into Vrindavan? Whether it is Bhauma Vrindavan or Goloka Vrindavan, what should be our mindset? There is so much to learn from Akrura. So definitely this chapter is too good for us, and I just love the flow of this chapter and the way this whole thing goes, and what Akrura is talking, thinking, imagining, and then finally how he ends up meeting Krishna. Because the end is so good, the way he just is thinking, and then finally he actually sees Krishna, and it will happen at the end of this chapter only, which is so nice. You don't have to wait to go to another chapter to see what will happen at the end. Krishna Book, like you see the Gopi Geet or anything where there is separation of the devotee and the Lord, oh my God, Sukadeva Goswami will make you wait and wait and wait, and you are anticipating what will happen. But at least in this chapter at the end, he reaches and he sees the love, his Lord. So that makes this chapter very special. So the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, with this 12 cantos and 18,000 verses, and has maybe like 335 chapters, and out of which 90 chapters are in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And even in the term of verses, 10th canto has maybe the 1/3 or maybe 1/4 of verses, which the whole Bhagavatam verses, and even this 90 chapters are very nicely put there. The first 40 chapters are more of completely Vrindavan Leela, and the last 40 chapters are Dwarka based Leelas, where we can say Dwarka based because from there he will go to Kurukshetra, and then he will go to Hastinapur. So he's based in Dwarka, but he's traveling. So last 40 chapters are those Leelas. First 40 chapters are Vrindavan Leela. The middle 10 chapters are Mathura Leela. And now this particular chapter and another 3 chapters are very special because a big transition is going to happen now, because we have come to the end of Vrindavan Leela. So 38, 39, 40, and Krishna is gone. Now he's going to go to Mathura. And this man here, man in question, Akrura, is the instrument who is going to do that. He's going to take away Krishna from Vrindavan and to Mathura. So this is really, really special chapter, because this whole transition is going to happen now. Our little naughty Krishna is now going to go to the big city Mathura, and there he's going to be getting himself into administration, politics and wars and so many things. And because as far as Krishna was in Vrindavan, he was not into management or administration, though his father was the boss at Vrindavan, but he never interfered, of course, except Govardhan Leela, where he stopped the Indra Puja. But apart from that, he never interfered in administration. He was just a little simple cowherd boy, naughty boy, playing around. Of course, his playing around means killing demons. That's another thing. But yeah, he was a simple boy, village boy. But now he'll migrate to city, and he will be now into administration and member of the royal family. So this whole big transition is going to happen in this particular chapter. So that's why this chapter is very, very special. Some places it says Krishna was 10 years old, some places it says 11 years old. I will not worry so much about it, because it's not a history class. So we'll just take I don't know how you do it. I'm not planning to read the whole chapter, because if I keep reading it, then it'll always, it'll just take away all our 1 hour. So what I'm going to do is, I'll do selective reading. I have Krishna Book right here in front of me, and I'm going to read it. So I'll do selective reading. I'll just read some lines, and then, we will pause and ponder, and then we will move. But I'll try to complete the whole thing in a summary way. So before, of course, we get into this chapter, I'll give you a little background. Of course, I know you know the background since you've been doing it maybe for a few weeks now, but still, for the story to be complete. So where we are here poised now here is Narad Muni has informed Kamsa. He's just told the secret to Kamsa. He just told him that, look, Krishna is not the son of Nanda and Yashoda. He is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, and your sister and brother-in-law have cheated you. Their son is in Vrindavan. So now Kamsa gets very angry, and he immediately takes a sword and he wants to kill Vasudeva. That how can he cheat me? But then Narada stops him and says, well, the Akashavani, the celestial voice, did not say that Vasudeva is going to kill you. It is his son. So why do you want to waste your time in killing Vasudeva? Just go ahead and do something about Krishna. So Kamsa says, yeah, you are right, Narad Muni, I shouldn't waste my time doing that. So he just leaves Vasudeva and he starts all his planning. So he immediately summons Akrura, and that you go to Vrindavan and get that boy, get Krishna, and I want to kill him. And it's not that previously he was not trying. He did have some suspicion about this very brave boy at Vrindavan, and he was going on sending demons. But now, because Narad Muni confirmed that he is the one who is going to kill you, that's what the celestial voice has predicted. So now he was all the more angry, and now he thought, all the while I kept sending demons to Krishna, but probably he was successful in killing them because he had the home ground advantage. But now I'll call him to Mathura and I'll have the home ground advantage because this is my place. So he called Akrura and he asked him that, okay, now you go to Vrindavan and you bring Krishna, send my message and you bring him here. And he tells his whole plan to Akrura. He says, what I'm planning, once you bring Krishna and Balaram, because Narad Muni informed him about Balaram also. So he said, once you bring Krishna and Balaram here, I have my wrestlers ready. They are going to invite Krishna for a wrestling match, and Mushtika, Chanura, they're all ready and they're going to kill them. And if even if before that works, I'm going to have this mad elephant, this elephant called, and he had also spoken with the Mahavat, that you keep this elephant ready and to attack Krishna. And then he also organized a Dhanur Yagna, and then he also had a Kala Bhairava fire sacrifice ready. So he had all things ready to attack Krishna, and he was sharing it with Akrura, and he was telling him that, look, I'm going to be successful, and once I kill Krishna and Balaram, then I'll also kill their father, and once I kill Vasudeva, I'll also kill all the kings who have who are not loyal to me, with the help of my friend Jarasandha. And once all of these people are killed, all the thorns are removed, I'll be so relieved. And he's sharing all these things with Akrura. Now whenever we start reading this chapter, or whenever we introduce the character of Akrura to new devotees, the first question comes in their mind, but why did Akrura take sides with Kamsa? He knew the whole plan. He knew he was inviting Krishna to Mathura to kill him, and he still supported. Is it fair? Now the whole thing is Akrura was like like a Vibhishan was in Ram Leela, he was in Lanka. Same thing Akrura was in Mathura. So see that when Kamsa was doing lot of atrocities towards people, the whole Yadu dynasty as such got fragmented into three kind of people, I could say. One who were who just fled away because they could not fight with Kamsa, so they just fled that place, they just left. And there were one who could not fight, so they were imprisoned, like Vasudev, Ugrasen, they were all imprisoned. And then there was another category of people who just defected, who just changed sides. They were initially in the side of Vasudev, but they just changed side, just like it happens in war sometimes, it's a military term. So they just defected and they came to Kamsa's side. Now even though Akrura externally was so called in the side of Kamsa, but he was not in the side of Kamsa. So it's that defection is not always defective. Sometimes there is an external purpose. For example, we see even Vibhishan, he defected from Ravana's side to Lord Rama's side. So it's not that defection is not a negative word. Sometimes it's just happening for the good. So here, though Akrura was there in Mathura, he had some purpose. He had to be there because everybody was insane there, and at least there need to be one sane voice among all these people. So he was just there. And now Kamsa was always very suspicious of Akrura, and he doubted his loyalty. So now he thought, this is very good test for me. Let me see if Akrura, very good test for Akrura. Now let me see if Akrura goes or not. If he's really loyal to me, even after hearing my whole plan, if he goes and brings Krishna and Balaram back, that means he's loyal to me. So this was like a test for Akrura. So that's why, and also because Akrura was related to Krishna, and also because he wanted to send somebody who so-called looks little neutral, so that Krishna does not raise his guards and gets prepared for a war. He just wanted to attack Krishna, he should not raise his guard and he should not be well prepared. He wanted to attack Krishna unprepared. So he does that. So now Akrura is all ready, and then he says, okay, I will go. However, Akrura does give him some sense. You'll see in the Bhagavatam last 3 verses in that chapter where Akrura is saying, you shouldn't do this. But at the same time, he just says, okay, fine, because he's thinking in his mind, it's okay, at least I'm getting an opportunity to see Krishna. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has his own plan and he knows how to protect himself. So, Akrura is a part of it because he's part of Krishna's Leela and he knows what's going to happen next. And they were all waiting for this moment actually when Krishna will actually come and kill Kamsa. They were long waiting for this to happen. So finally, that's where our chapter begins, where Kamsa has already, out of anger, he has immediately sent Kesi and Vyomasur to kill Krishna, and meanwhile he's making all preparations. Mustika, Chanura, Kuvalya, Pida, elephant, everything is getting ready, and meanwhile he's also sending Akrura. So lots of things are happening in Mathura. Everything is very much active, and all are very much actively waiting for Krishna to arrive because he wants to kill Krishna. So this begins Akrura's arrival in Vrindavan. So now Narad Muni is not mentioned. I'm just going to read it. Narad Muni did not mention Krishna's killing Vyomasur, which means that he was killed on the same day as the Kesi demon. So now Kesi demon and Vyomasura are the last 2 demons that Krishna kills in Vrindavan Leela, and after that he just goes to Mathura. And so now here we see that Kamsa gives a beautiful golden chariot to Akrura, brand new chariot to bring Krishna. So Akrura is very happy because he's a devotee, and he really was thinking that how can I bring Krishna on a prasadi chariot of Kamsa. He really wanted to offer something new and nice. So he's very happy, all excited, and that was the day of Dwadashi. Just the next day of Ekadashi, in the night, Kamsa had instructed him. So next day morning, he's already taken his bath, he's on his chariot, and is on the way to Vrindavan. Now, I was mentioning at the beginning of the class that we're going to take lessons from this whole episode. And I was thinking that one lesson that we can, take from this episode in the beginning is, if you see Kamsa's life, the way the whole thing is, he goes on changing his stand. At one point, he's very nice, loving to his sister and brother-in-law and taking them on the chariot, and then, after their marriage, and wants to serve them. And the very next moment, when the Akashavani, when the celestial voice says that your sister's son is going to kill you, then he's all ready to kill her. Then again, when Vasudev convinces him that don't kill her, I'll just give you my children, then he's convinced. And then when again Vasudev brings the child, he sees the child, he says, I don't want to kill, it's okay, you can take back, I'll kill the 8th son. Then when again the other people convince him, no, that's not the right thing to do, then he again says, no, I want to kill. And then he kills everybody. So if you see the Kamsa's character, not only was he an influential person, he was also very influenceable. People could influence him. People could talk to him. Narad Muni could talk to him, convince him about things. And I was thinking that this is such a big life lesson for us also, that even our mind is like Kamsa. It is influential and it's also influenceable. Our mind is also very influential. Our mind influences us. I want to eat this. I want to do this. I don't want to chant now. It influences us. And our mind is influenceable. When we associate with devotee, we start chanting also very quickly. We become very happy. Yeah, we want to read, we want to hear. At the same time, when we associate with the wrong people, again we get influenced by them. So our mind is all the time getting influenced. We just maybe watching some, Ramdev Baba, yoga. We want to become, I want to take care of my health. I should have good health. Then very next moment, we are watching Jagannath Das Babaji's classes and we're like, I think I should diet. I should, and then we are watching something else. And then every time we keep on changing because mind is influenceable. So that means one lesson that we can learn from Kamsa's character is that since our mind is like that, we should always give it right association. Very careful. And what association are we giving to our mind, because our mind may just take it, That was one lesson. And the other thing I was thinking in my mind when I was reading that, the way the whole chapter will start now, Akrura is ready on the chariot. Now he's on the way to Vrindavan and he's thinking about Vrindavan, he's thinking about Krishna. This is all going to begin now. And now somebody may think, he just heard Kamsa's plan of killing Krishna. So that means, is he co-conspirator with Kamsa, planning to kill Krishna? But here again he shows pure devotee symptoms. Oh, he loves Krishna and he remembers Krishna and is happy about going to have an opportunity to see Krishna, and he's meditating on Krishna. And so what is this actually happening? So what we understand, another life lesson that we can take from here is one of the characteristics of being in mode of goodness is we need to separate observation from evaluation. We should not mix observation and evaluation. Sometimes we may see certain things, but the things are not as we see them. For example, we are seeing very clearly Akrura is going to Mathura, from Mathura to Vrindavan, and we externally we see like he's a part of Kamsa's conspiracy, but he is not. So I thought that's such a beautiful lesson in our life, because sometimes we just mix up two things, observation and evaluation. For example, in our day-to-day lives, let's see, we have seen a devotee who is taking lot of prasadam, one helping after another, and we may simply evaluate him saying that, oh my God, he's eats so much and there is no renunciation and there's no control of senses. But probably what we didn't know is maybe he just came from a yatra from Vrindavan in a 46 hours train where he hadn't had prasadam for 2 days, and it's just now he's coming and taking prasadam. So what we are doing here basically is mixing observation and evaluation, and that's where we commit a lot of Vaishnava prad, because we keep doing it all the time. Even when we are asked to give any information about any devotee, we always combine these two things. So what we need to do is, whenever we are expressing about other devotee, we should very clearly say, this is my observation about him, but we should not mix evaluation with it. So here in the case of Akrura also, oh God, Akrura is a pure devotee. Externally it may seem that he is a messenger of Kamsa, but he is not. And and we learn from that we shouldn't judge devotees in our community by their actions, because we don't know what's the purpose behind. So we should be very careful in that way, avoid a Vaishnava Prad, and always give benefit of doubt. So now he's on his golden chariot, and now I read here, Akrura was requested by Kamsa to arrive in Vrindavan. After receiving instruction from Kamsa, Akrura started his journey. He began to pray to the Lord. Devotees are always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, and Akrura was constantly thinking of Lord Krishna's lotus eyes. One thing here, I'm sure most of you there out there in that forum have been to Vrindavan, and you've also been to Mathura Janmasthan, and you know very well that Mathura to Vrindavan is just 35 minutes, at the max 40 minutes, but definitely it's not going to take whole day. That you leave from Mathura in the morning and you will reach Vrindavan in the evening. There is no such possibility, because it's very close by. Now, why did he take a whole one day? He reaches there in the evening. So Vaishnava Acharya's comment that he took so much time because he was so much meditating on Krishna's lotus feet, lotus eyes. His mind was more active than his body. He was just thinking so many things. What will happen when I go there? I'm finally going to see Krishna. He's so happy because all along he wanted to see Krishna, but he couldn't. His situation was like that, though it was just a 20 minutes or 30 minutes ride, because Kamsa will be suspicious of him, so he was avoiding going to Vrindavan, and now finally he is going to go to Vrindavan and see his Lord. So he's so happy, and because of that, it's something like he's traveling a little bit, and then he pauses because he's into imagination, and then he goes this side, and he says, oh, this is the wrong route, and he comes back and goes this route and that route. He doesn't know what he's doing. Something like, I know, for us to relate to that situation, it's something like when we chant our 16 rounds, when we are chanting our rounds, we start thinking so many things. We imagine, okay, once these rounds are completed, then I will finish the cooking, and then after I finish my cooking, then I'll have to go there, and then by the time we do all that, we come back, oh my God, but I'm still on the 4th round only, and I've already started imagining so many things, what I will do after I finish my 16 rounds, and as a result, I've stopped my present round, what I'm doing. And same thing was happening with Akrura. He's just thinking, when I go there, this will happen, that will happen, but he's already stopped his chariot. He's not even moving ahead, and he says, oh, I have to go, and then he moves a little forward, and then he moves a little forward, and he keeps doing that, and ultimately it takes him a whole day to reach. And when I was reading this, I was just thinking in my mind that we wear those t-shirts, I lost my heart in Vrindavan, but I'm not sure if we have actually lost our heart. Maybe we lose our spectacles sometimes to the monkeys in Vrindavan, but Akrura has actually lost his heart in Vrindavan. He's just lost it. He doesn't know what to do. He's just thinking and meditating and imagining what's going to happen. I'm going to see Krishna, and he's so excited and he's so happy. And Prabhupada says that's the mood devotee has to take to go to Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada says in the same chapter, he says, you can't buy a ticket to Vrindavan. If you want to go to Vrindavan, you should take the mood of Akrura. He says that. And of course, somebody may ask, but Akrura was actually going to see Krishna face to face, so all that excitement, how do we develop that excitement, because we are not going to see Krishna face to face, but actually that's not true. In our situation, status and paristhiti, circumstance, we are also seeing Krishna face to face, maybe in a different form. When we see the holy land of Vrindavan where Krishna has walked, when we touch that dust, and when we take bath in Yamuna, and when we see the devotees in Vrindavan and those deities and those pastime places, we are actually connecting to Krishna face to face. It's not that actually seeing Krishna is different from names of Krishna or forms of Krishna or holy places connected to Krishna, or even prasadam of Krishna. Everything is Krishna, like Nama Chintamani Krishna. There's no difference between Abhinnatvam Nama Namini. There's no difference. So we are also actually, and also, okay, if we don't want to think that philosophical, Then there's another way to think about it. Because Krishna says, Vrindavanam parityajam padam ekam na gacchati. I don't even step one foot outside Vrindavan. So Krishna is always there in Vrindavan. Krishna is there. So we can also be in that same mood of Akrura when we go on our Vrindavan Yatra, that I'm going to see Krishna and I'm going to see those places and I'm going to see where Krishna, Mother Yashoda tied him and where he took bath and the place where he had, subdued the Kaliya serpent. So we can also be in that meditation. So he's in that meditation, and it takes him a whole day to reach Vrindavan. So here and now comes a very beautiful point where he says, oh, I'm not so qualified. Akrura begins to think within himself, oh, I'm so unfit for gaining this transcendental opportunity of seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is so beautiful, because he's thinking in his mind, oh, I'm unfit, I'm not so qualified, oh, I don't know how I'm getting this opportunity to go to Vrindavan. And I thought this is also such a beautiful lesson for the devotees, to be in that constant mood that we are unfit and we are unqualified. Humility, I mean, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the two things, humility, tolerance. So this humility is the qualification. Here we see Akrura, how he's exhibiting humility, that I'm a materialistic person and I don't know how I got this opportunity to see Krishna. And I was thinking one lesson that devotees can learn from this is, we should also always be in that mood. Sometimes we take the association of devotees and the community that we are in for granted. But we should be always in that constant meditation that, and I'm unfit. I don't know how I got this opportunity, this privilege of being amidst devotees and chanting with the devotees and taking prasadam with the devotees and hearing katha with the devotees. So one should be so grateful all the time that, how wonderful opportunity I have got. And imagine if Krishna just kicks me out from this community and then I'm somewhere out in this material world and I'm just, my soul is just changing from body to body. What would happen to me? Oh, how fortunate that Krishna has given me this opportunity to be in the association of devotees. And if we are in such constant meditation, we won't take the association of devotees cheaply. We shouldn't take it for granted. Every moment we should be grateful, and we shouldn't be like those Kali Yuga beggars. Kali Yuga beggars, I tell you, previously, if you used to give anything to the beggar, even if it's 1 rupee or 2 rupee, they will be so grateful. They'll bless you. Oh, Amma, you should be fine. You should be happy. They bless you. Mother, you should be happy. Now you try giving 1 or 2 rupees, they will curse you. They will throw the money back on you and they'll say, at least give 10 rupees. I don't want this 1 rupee. They are demanding. But actually, beggar means there shouldn't be any demand. Whatever you get, you should become happy. Now, we are also becoming like Kali Yuga beggars. Over the period of time, we start demanding from Krishna. We are not satisfied or not grateful that, oh Krishna, you're already giving me more than I deserve. Thank you so much. The fact that you have given me opportunity to associate with devotees itself is too much. I don't think I even deserve that much. But forget about that. We have 100 other things to ask him. Why can't I be the leader of this group? Or why can't devotees listen to what I am telling them to listen? And why this devotee spoke to me like this? And why she behaved like this? And why they don't listen to my instruction? Imagine this 100 list that you have. But we are forgetting that main point, the fact that Krishna allowed us to be in the middle of the devotee, that itself is such a big thing. And then like Kali Yuga beggars, we have 100 things to ask him. We are not happy with that. Why 1 rupee? I want 10 rupee. I don't want your 1 rupee. And we're throwing, taking it so cheaply, the association of devotees. But the actual mood should be this. Oh, I'm unfit. And so, this is to be in the mood of humility. But at the same time, I'll tell you, there's one more line that he speaks just after this, which is more important than that line also. And then he says, but by the grace of Krishna, everything is possible. And thus, if he likes, I'll be able to see him. Now, this is very important because sometimes we get confused between humility and depression. Humility means, okay, I think low about myself. I think I'm unqualified. But I don't keep on talking about it. Then that's not humility. That's self-absorption. if I keep on telling you, half an hour about how unqualified I am and how stupid I am and how low class I am, and how what I'm actually doing is I'm talking about myself. So that's not humility, because humility does not mean self-absorption. It means that you're talking more about Krishna. So here he'll not keep on talking about himself only. Oh, how unqualified I am. So no, he says, but by the grace of Krishna, everything is possible. So that's important. But we cannot take depression and humility to be same. If some people are depressed, I'm unqualified, and they don't want to do anything about it, and they don't want to serve also. And if you ask them to do them service also, they'll say, I'm unqualified, and they don't want to do the service also. No, yeah, we are unqualified, but by the grace of Krishna, it is possible. So that should be the, that should be the mood of the devotee. Okay, I'm unqualified, but because Krishna is merciful, and Krishna's mercy and empowerment is more powerful than my disqualification. That we should understand. Krishna's mercy, Krishna's empowerment is more powerful than my disqualification. That faith we should have on Krishna, and we should proceed further. That's the right way. That actually means humble, where we acknowledge that whatever I'm able to do is because of Krishna's mercy, but not that we constantly be in self-absorption. So here, he just says, I am not qualified, but I got this opportunity to see Krishna, and I'll be able to see him if Krishna desires. And then he gives one very beautiful example. I liked it so much, where he said that, let's say a man is drowning in the water, and he doesn't know how to swim, and the shore is far off, but still sometimes the waves themselves, flow in such a way that they take the man and put him on the shore. So he says that's what Krishna is doing. I'm unqualified, but because of his mercy, he will make sure that I can see him. Something like, see, Krishna's reciprocation with us is not because of our qualification or because of what we are. Krishna reciprocates with us in a particular way because of what he is, not because of what we are. We may be completely useless, but the fact is that he is too sweet and too merciful. So that is why he behaves with us in a particular way, and he reciprocates, and he gives us so much love and affection and mercy. So it's our qualification or disqualification has no much role to play there. It's only that's how Krishna is, and that's how he wants to reciprocate with his devotees. So and then now comes another beautiful point, where Akrura is going to thank Kamsa. He says, I consider that I am very much favored by Kamsa. Kamsa is so kind to me that he sent me to fetch Krishna. And I thought, this is amazing. I mean, just see, he's thanking Kamsa. We don't even thank our Siksha and Diksha Gurus properly, who are actually pushing us, towards Krishna. But here you just see Akrura, he knows what Kamsa is, but he's still taking the good point. Okay, at least Kamsa has become instrumental here in connecting me to Krishna, and he's so happy with Kamsa. And I thought, that's so beautiful. Gratitude, two things which will help us access Krishna more and more is humility and gratitude. These two things. I'm unqualified, and I'm grateful to Krishna, and I'm grateful to this devotee community. I'm grateful. That's enough. That will allow us to access Krishna more. So wonderful. In fact, if you see, even Prahlad Maharaj, when he's praying to Narasimhadev, and then Narasimhadev is offering him benedictions, he says, he's grateful to his Guru Narad Muni, and he wants to serve Narad Muni. So I thought that's such a wonderful point, that we should also in our personal lives never forget those people who have been instrumental in connecting us to Krishna, positively and negatively. What I mean to say here is, those who have positively helped us, maybe given us a book, given us prasadam, some classes, invited us for a Sunday program, connected us to a community, all these positive effects, we should thank them definitely, that they have been inspiration, in connecting us to Krishna. And also those negatively, imagine those people who are giving us a lot of trouble in life and, making our life hell, and because of which we got this vairagya, detachment, and we suddenly start looking for where is real happiness, and I want to get a book and all that. We should thank them also, because imagine if everything is too goody in our life, we may not have that inclination to go to Krishna. We really need some trouble also, and then we'll understand, it's true what Gita says, this material world is temporary. So those people who are actually giving us trouble, we should thank them also, because one way or the other they've also been instrumental in pushing us towards Krishna. Because if they were too nice to us, we would have, they would have pulled us towards them, but because they're not nice, they're pushing us towards Krishna. So we can always take it that way. So wonderful here, humility and gratitude. And it's not that, because of being humble, he didn't say, Kamsa, I'm not qualified, maybe you can send somebody else to fetch Krishna. I know he was humble, but he took up the service. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, when he was asked by the Devatas that they're not able to pacify Narasimha Dev, and Lakshmi Devi was also not able to pacify, and Brahma was also not able to pacify, then they asked Prahlad Maharaj that you pacify Narasimha Dev. So Prahlad Maharaj goes and stands in front of Narasimha Dev and he says, I'm not qualified, I belong to the Ugra Jati, I'm from a demon family, I'm not qualified, my lord. But Brahma and all those people could not appease you, pacify you, but I will try. So, it's not that we just sit out there, I'm not qualified, so I won't do a service. We should remember Krishna's mercy, Krishna's empowerment, and go ahead and do our service. So wonderful. So here, and then he says, okay, Akrura, he's very happy with Kamsa, he's thanking. And I was thinking one more point here is, we should never forget our past. So that is one tip by which we can be humble and grateful. Like you see in the life of Ajamil, when the Vishnudutas came and then they had this conversation and the Vishnudutas protected him from Yamadutas. So he's thinking in his mind that I'm so disqualified. What is my qualification? I was simply enjoying with the prostitute and breaking all rules and regulations, and still they are so kind, and they came and they relieved me from the clutches of the Yamaduta. So I thought that was a wonderful point that Prabhupada also says in that particular chapter in Purport. He says devotee should not forget his past. So we should never forget our past, what situation I came from, and what was I doing before I came in touch with Krishna consciousness, and that will keep us humble. Otherwise, over a period of time, because people keep on calling us Prabhu and Mataji, Prabhu, Mataji, after some time we really start thinking about ourselves as Mahaprabhu, we take things for granted, and then subtly somewhere we expect people should speak to us in a certain tone and respect us, and all that happens so subtly we don't even realize. But if we constantly have this in the back of our mind, what's our past and where we came from, and we came from a situation where we were not even chanting one round of Hare Krishna, and we were, what kind of lives we had, then it will always keep us in humble state of mind that it's, okay, whatever I'm doing now, but this was my past. So, it keeps that fine balance. So then he was very happy. Okay, I've been favored by Kamsa, and now I get this opportunity. So then he makes another beautiful point. He says, formerly in the sages, simply by seeing the shining nails of the lotus feet of Krishna were delivered. Now he's just expressing the glories of Krishna. Krishna, who is so glorious that simply by seeing the nail of Krishna, the shining nail of Krishna's lotus feet, they were delivered. That Krishna, I'm going to see whole Krishna, face to face. So, what will happen to me? He's just, imagining that, forget about just the nail. I'm going to see whole of Krishna. So, he's very happy and he's thinking in his mind. Of course, I'm very sorry that I'm just running through it. Actually, every line is a nectar, and this will take another 3 classes if we just completely hold the chapter. So then he talks about Krishna's Leela, and he talks about the beauty of Krishna, his beautiful face, his curly black hair, his smile, and then he And then he's talking about, oh, looks like it's, everything is very auspicious because the deers are passing by my right side. That means everything is auspicious and I'm going to see Krishna. So he's just in that meditation. And then he goes forward as he's going on. He's still, the whole paragraphs here come about the importance of hearing Krishna Katha. And then here he says, okay, today I shall be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who by his transcendental beauty has attracted the goddess of fortune to live with him perpetually. And as soon as I arrive in Vrindavan, I'll get down from my chariot and I'll fall prostrate to offer obeisances to Supreme Lord. Now this is very special. He's just imagining that what he will do when he goes to Vrindavan. So he's thinking in his mind, what I'll do as soon as I get down from the chariot, and then as soon as I see Krishna, I'll just fall flat on the ground and I'll pay obeisances to him. And you know what? I'll also pay obeisances to his friends, and I'll also pay obeisances to all the Vrajavasis, and I'll also pay obeisances to dust of Vrindavan. And he's just thinking so many things in his mind. And I thought this was also a very important point. Of course, he says, I'll just be like his friend. I'll be, just like he has his cowherd friends, I'll just mix with them. And here it says, I'll become one of his friends in Vrindavan like the cowherd boys. This is also a very important point, that if you love Krishna, then you love everything connected to Krishna. That's very important. That shows our progress in Krishna consciousness. Like if we only love Krishna, then okay. But when we start loving everything connected to Krishna, that's a symptom that yes, we're doing better in our Krishna conscious journey. So here he loves everybody, everything connected to Krishna, everybody connected to Krishna, and he wants to pay obeisances to even the Vrajavasis and the cowherd boys. We see our acharyas. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, just day before yesterday, I was giving a class on his life and teachings because it was his disappearance day, and I was reading that he used to pay 3,000 mental obeisances to the devotees. So 1,000 obeisances to Krishna and 3,000 obeisances to devotees of Krishna. And of course he was 144 years old, and he could not move so much, so he could not physically pay obeisances, so he was mentally doing it. And then we hear in Raghunath Das Goswami's pastimes also, he used to also pay, I think, 2,000 obeisances every single day to Vaishnavas and 1,000 obeisances to the Lord. So we see the acharyas also, and they were paying obeisances to the Vaishnavas. So this is one thing also, like a lesson for us, that we shouldn't be reluctant in paying obeisances to the Vaishnavas, and whenever we see them, we should be happy to pay obeisances to them, just like we pay obeisances to Krishna. And one more point here, you see, the whole excitement that Akrura is going through. When I see Krishna, I'll pay obeisances to him. So beautiful imagination. I don't think any of us, when we are getting ready from home to go to temple, and on the way in the car we are imagining, oh, I'm going to the temple and I'm going to pay obeisances to Radha Madan Mohan, and I'm going to pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and I'm going to pay obeisances to all the devotees who are sitting in the temple. We are not imagining that. We are in some other mood, But this is the actual mood. That's what Akrura is teaching us. Of course, we may be far from that mood, but at least we know what mood we are supposed to have. So we are supposed to have that excitement. Oh, I'm going to the temple, I'm going to pay obeisances. But we do it so carelessly and so unconsciously. It's become a routine for us. Just get inside the temple, knock the door, pay obeisances to Prabhupada, pay obeisances, and we have 100 things in going on in our mind, but that should be the excitement, and that should be the mood, So whether it is going to Vrindavan, or whether it's just entering our local community temple, or anywhere, that should be the mood. Prabhupada had that mood even when he was entering Boston. Like, he entered Boston as if he was entering Vrindavan. If you see Krishna, Prabhupada's, that bhajan which he writes, Baro Krishna, Baro Kripa Kailo Krishna, Adha Mere Pati, that Jaladuta song which he writes, Actually, that has so much similarity with Akrura's thinking. If you just, you just read the translation of that song composed by Prabhupada, and then this same thing Prabhupada also talks, I'm unqualified, but Krishna wills, then it is possible. Krishna has brought me. I am now instrument of Krishna. Let him make me dance as he wants to. The whole thing is so similar to Akrura here, same kind. All the devotees almost speak the same thing, So here, here he says that, and then he says another thing. He says, I am aspiring for the touch of his lotus hand on my head. When that hand will touch my head, just like he did to King Indra and then King Bali, and then the way he touched the gopis after the Rasa Leela and how they were all relieved from their fatigue, Krishna will also touch my head. So he's just remembering different leelas, how when Krishna came as Vamana, how he has blessed Bali Maharaj and how he has blessed Indra, and then how in Rasa Leela when Krishna touches the gopis, they're relieved of all their fatigue. So he's just remembering that, and then Krishna is going to touch me and I'll be relieved of all my sinful activities, or what are my sinful reactions, and that's what he's thinking here. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. See, we never know what is Krishna's plan. Sometimes Krishna may make a materialistic person also as an instrument in sending his mercy to us. That's why we should be so careful in our dealing with everybody. Because you see here, Kamsa is a demon, but Krishna as a Paramatma in the heart of Kamsa inspired, and Kamsa sent Akrura to meet Krishna. So we never know in our lives also, sometimes maybe a completely atheistic, materialistic person may have been sent by Krishna to show us some mercy. That's why we should be very cautious in our behavior with everybody, not only Vaishnavas, but with everybody around. We should not be careless and casual, and we should be very alert how we are behaving and interacting with people around us. Anyway, so then finally he says, okay, now there's another beautiful point Akrura is making here. He's saying that I'm going to see Krishna as a messenger of the enemy. At the same time, Krishna is in everyone's heart as a super soul, so he will know my heart. I'm sure Krishna will not, he will not distrust me. He will believe me. And I thought that is also very beautiful. Actually, Akrura is doing such a tough job. Sometimes, we understand that even devotees have to do something non-devotional sometimes as a part of their service. Now I'm just going to prove my statement. Like for example, sometimes we participate in the drama festival at the Sunday feast program in the temple, and where you will be Jagai Madhai, or sometimes you are Chand Kazi, or sometimes you are Kamsa. But that doesn't mean you are Kamsa. You may be dressed like Kamsa, you may have to speak like Kamsa, but you are a devotee. But sometimes you have to do it just because the whole pastime is going on, the devotees are going to watch the Sunday program drama, so you have to take the role of Kamsa. So sometimes the devotees also have to take up certain roles, like Akrura here has to take the role of enemy of Krishna, or as a messenger of enemy of Krishna, but that does not mean he is enemy of Krishna. It's just taking a role, So here he's saying that, and you see even in Ramayana, Sumanta also had to do something like that. He had the same situation like Akrura. Just like now what Akrura is going to do. He just goes there and then he will bring Krishna from Vrindavan, and all the gopis will curse him and they are crying, and why Akrura is not Akrura, means he's not uncruel. He's very, very cruel because he has taken away our Krishna. But Akrura, he takes the blame because he is a part of the Lord's divine plan. Same thing Sumantra also, he has to take the blame. And the difference is, poor fellow Sumantra had to suffer more because he had to actually come back to Ayodhya after dropping Rama. At least Akrura didn't have to come back to Vrindavan and show his faces. Once and for all, he took Krishna and he left. But in Sumantra, when he cheated the Ayodhya Vasis on, Ayodhya Vasi on the behest of, on the instruction of Rama, when Rama told them early in the morning when everybody was sleeping, Rama said, cheat them, take the chariot this side, come back, that side, come back, take this side, and make all kinds of, turns and curves, and then finally let's move from here. So early morning they did that, and all the Ayodhya Vasis were sleeping, and when they got up in the morning, they even wanted to follow the marks of the Ratha Chakras, the wheels, but they could not because it was misguiding them. It was going to a certain extent, again coming back, going here, and they felt so cheated by Sumantra. How could he do that? He just took away Lord Rama, Lakshman and Sita. So same thing Akrura has to do here also. And you see, thankless job. I mean, neither Kamsa is happy with him, because Kamsa is suspicious. what is Akrura's mood? I don't know. Maybe is he in Krishna's side or my side? He's thinking like that. So Kamsa is suspicious of him. And neither the Vrindavan Vasis like him. Because they think you have taken away Krishna from us. So imagine nobody likes him and he's not popular with anybody. But still he satisfied himself saying that that's all right. Krishna is a super soul in my heart. He knows my heart. He knows I'm not his enemy. He knows I'm his devotee. He will embrace me. And I thought that was such a beautiful point, because sometimes it may happen in our lives also. Maybe nobody will appreciate us. That's all right. What we should understand is that Krishna as a Paramatma in our heart, he appreciates us. He knows what is there in our heart. He will acknowledge. Of course, see, everybody in this world wants some kind of an acknowledgement. But the best acknowledgement is when we get that from Krishna. In this material world, even if we expect acknowledgement from somebody, we'll be disappointed always. A person who's doing a job may be expecting some kind of a recognition from the person who hires him. A housewife may be expecting some kind of a recognition or acknowledgement from the husband that she has worked hard. Everybody wants some kind of an acknowledgement, but the best acknowledgement is to get it from Krishna. And here Akrura is satisfied with that. He said, let the whole world misunderstand me, but I know Krishna will acknowledge me. And he says that. He says, when I'll stand with my folded hands with humility in front of Krishna and Balaram, then Krishna and Balaram will call me Uncle Akrura. He'll say that to me. And he's just imagining that, and he's thinking, oh, my whole life will be glorious when they will acknowledge me, when they will call me. He's happy. Then here Prabhupada says, unless one is recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his life cannot be successful. So that's what we should try for. And we should not waste our time so much to justify and prove ourselves to the people of this material world. Krishna as a super soul in our heart knows our heart, and as in if and when it's not required, we shouldn't waste our time so much in convincing people, this is not how I am, this is not, don't think about me like this, please, I'm not like this. We shouldn't waste our time in justifying that. Krishna knows our heart and we should be happy about it. So he is happy that Krishna is going to acknowledge me because he knows my heart and he's satisfied with that. Now, one thing, Prabhupada is so kind, he's going to clarify this. One thing may come in our mind, okay, this point is very good, that I don't expect acknowledgement from others, I expect acknowledgement from Krishna. So how do I know? Is Krishna going to speak to me that he's recognized my service? How will I know? So here, if you see, Prabhupada says, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, he says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when one satisfies the spiritual master, he is satisfying the Supreme Lord. It is exactly like service in a government office. One has to work under the supervision of the department head. He says, just like in a government, you work under your supervisor, and if your supervisor is happy, the boss becomes happy and there is a hike in your pay. That's about it. So one should satisfy one's spiritual master, and that way we can get acknowledgement or recognition from Krishna. And I thought that was pretty satisfying. So here, this is what he thinks in his mind, and he is happy that Krishna will acknowledge me. Krishna will, in fact, see, even if somebody simply sits and imagines that I'll go to Vrindavan, then I will take darshan, then I'll go to Kamyavan, I'll go to Bahulavan. Simply that imagination, the scripture says, will remove us from the chakra of birth and death. So powerful is the smarana of Lord and the meditation of Lord and Lord's pastime places. So this is what Akrura is doing. Amazing thing he's doing is just remembering and meditating and imagining things, what is going to happen. Then finally what happens, he reaches Vrindavan. We are hurrying Akrura to reach Vrindavan because he has to reach, otherwise we can't complete, so he just reaches. We have missed many things out there, but you can just read it again. So he reaches finally. Now, just before he's going to enter, he sees something very special. As soon as he enters the boundary of Vrindavan, he saw the hoof prints of the cows and footprints of Lord Krishna, and with the signs of flag, trident, lotus feet, which are worshipped by all the demigods and great personalities throughout the three worlds. Now Akrura becomes all the more emotional. If you are having your Krishna book in your hand, you can see that beautiful picture where Akrura is seeing the lotus feet of the Lord, and he's so happy. Now his hair stands on the end and he's completely ecstatic, because till now he was imagining, now he's actually seeing that beautiful footprint of Krishna. And I tell you, in the three worlds, Vrindavan is the very, very special place, because that's the only place where Krishna walks barefoot. In Mathura he had nice footwears, and in Dwarka he has nice footwears, because he's a member of the royal family. But in Vrindavan he's a simple cowherd boy, and he had no footwear, so he was just walking barefoot. So everywhere in Vrindavan were his footprints, and these footprints were taken care by the Vrajavasis like a great monument, something like how they take care of those heritage buildings. They're so careful. Oh, it's a heritage building, don't touch, don't renovate, don't touch, don't make changes. That's what they used to do with every footprint of Krishna. Even the cows and the deer and the monkeys and the birds, and they know that this is Krishna's footprint, and they will never stamp over it, and they will never touch it. They will just pass from it from the other side, So everywhere in Vrindavan are Krishna's footprints, and Akrura becomes so happy because he can see all those signs, the barley corn and the Shankha, Chakra, all that signs he's seeing, and he's very happy and he's ecstatic and he's crying and he's just rolling on the ground. He's becoming so happy. Actually, it's one of the human need is to honor. We want to honor somebody. And if we don't dovetail this need of honoring somebody to honoring Krishna, we will end up honoring some normal human being. You see, many years ago when George Harrison was very famous, one time in a hotel, he was just using one napkin. He just used a napkin for one time. And the hotel owner, he just, auctioned it, that one napkin, and there were so many people bidding for it that he had to cut the napkin into 16 pieces, and each piece was sold for thousands of dollars. So that's a human tendency. We just want to honor somebody, and we can't give up. Somebody we will honor in our life. So better we dovetail that in honoring Krishna. If we don't do it, we'll end up doing something else. So here he's so happy. And one other beautiful point is, when Akrura did this, getting down from his chariot, looking at the beautiful lotus feet of Krishna, crying, rolling on the ground, paying obeisances to Krishna's footprints. He didn't do it for a Facebook picture, because there was no Facebook at that time, and nobody was shooting him or taking a photo, or it was not a selfie, to post to his friends that, look, I am here with Krishna's footprints. Or what I mean to say is, it was not dambha. It was not some external show. He didn't want to show to anybody. It's only he. I mean, one of the way to test our sincerity in Krishna consciousness is, let's check what we do when nobody is around us. When nobody is around us, how sincerely do we chant, and how Krishna conscious we are, and what's our mood. We can actually understand our picture, where we are, how, because always when we are in association of devotees, things are pretty easy to express our, emotion or devotion. But when we are alone, what do we do? And he is alone here, and there is nobody who is seeing him, but he's paying obeisances to Krishna's lotus feet. Then what happens? Now we need to go a little more fast. So now finally, when Akrura entered Vrindavan, finally he finished that paying obeisances and crying and everything, and now he has entered Vrindavan. And now what has happened? He has entered Vrindavan, and now what he's doing? He's actually seeing Krishna and Balaram with his eyes. Oh, he's so happy. And what does he see? Krishna is dressed in yellow garments, and Balaram is in bluish garments, and both of them are looking beautiful like the lotus flower in the autumn season. And then they both are youthful, and they have beautiful bodily features. And Krishna is black in complexion, and Balaram is white, and they are well dressed, well constructed bodies, beautiful hand, pleasing faces, nice smiles, strong as elephants, and they just now seeing each other face to face, and Akrura is so happy, just glancing at them, and tears are flowing from his eyes. Is so happy to see them. And what he observes is that Krishna has come back from tending the cows, and he's already taken bath, and he's fresh, and there are fresh sandalwood pulp on his forehead, and there is a nice beautiful garland, and now he's entering into the Goshala. He wants to milk the cows or something like that, and this whole situation is like this. And then he suddenly sees, oh, here is Akrura. So he just turns at Akrura and walks towards him, and Akrura walks towards him, and Krishna is walking towards him, and then they finally meet, and Akrura is so happy. Finally he's seeing his Lord. Now what happens? Without hesitating, Akrura immediately got down from his chariot and fell flat, just like a rod, before Krishna and Balaram. And upon touching the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his voice became choked. He could not speak. He was in transcendental bliss. So he was so happy, and finally that he's there, and he's seeing them, and his voice is choked, and he's emotional, and he's not able to say anything. And now what happened? Krishna just embraced him. So Krishna embraced him. Balaram also embraced him. They took him to a sitting room. They washed his feet. They worshipped him. They gave him some honey mixed with ingredients. They fed him nicely. They gave him a cow in charity. They gave him very palatable dishes, and after the food is over, they just gave him some mouth freshener, betel nuts and some spices, and then they gave him some pulp of sandalwood. They're very happy, massaging his feet, washing his feet, so many things they did, everything that has to be done to receive a guest properly, the Vedic way they have received him. This is also very beautiful and good lessons for Grihasthas. Krishna time and again, by the way he treats Sudama also, has taught us that, how Grihastha should receive guests. It's very important. In fact, even we see, just recently I just completed a session with our devotees, Bhishma Stuti, for our Vizag congregation, and we were meditating on this one point in Bhishma Stuti where Bhishma, even though he's lying on the bed of arrows, was welcome those sages who came to meet him. And at that point, Prabhupada mentions in the purport there also that it's so important that the guest should be treated nicely. In fact, there is a particular hell for those people who don't treat the guest nicely. So this is one very important point, where and in Prabhupada says here, even if your guest is an enemy, still he should be received in a very nice way. And if you are a poor man, then you can at least offer a straw mat, a sitting place, and a glass of water to drink. So Akrura was properly received and seated, and then Nanda Maharaj starts his inquiries. He says, oh, I don't know if I should ask you how you are, because what's the point of asking? You are something like, like a animal which is kept in the slaughterhouse, what will be the situation? You are with that cruel Kamsa, and I know what must be happening with you, but however, what is going on there? So they start talking, and Akrura is so happy with this whole situation, seeing Krishna and Balaram, and then talking with Nanda Maharaj, and in hearing all this nice and pleasing words, that Akrura completely forgets all his fatigue of the day's journey from Mathura to Vrindavan, and becomes completely happy and satisfied. The jiva can only be satisfied when he connects to Krishna, and Akrura is finally connected to Krishna, and because he's been connecting to Krishna in various ways through smaranam and all, but now he finally gets the opportunity to do vandanam and associate more closely with Krishna, so he's so happy. So with this we end the chapter here, and of course coming 2 chapters are also going to be very, very very, very interesting, where Akrura is going to see the vision of the whole Vishnu Loka within the Yamuna river, and you're going to hear how, and you're also going to hear the sad part of how the gopis will curse Akrura, and how Akrura will be taking away Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura. Of course, that place where Akrura saw this vision under water, the whole Vishnu Loka is still there in Vrindavan. You can see that Akrura Ghat. That's a place where even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Gaur Leela used to take rest in the night, and that place is still there. You can visit. So, something to do with Akrura in Vrindavan, it's still there. You can just go and see that Akrura Ghat, if you are very inspired by these chapters. Usually it happens when you hear so much about a devotee, you really want to go and see something that is connected to that devotee. So you can see that Akrura Ghat in Vrindavan. So So that's how it is, and that's how Akrura finally arrived and saw the Lord face to face. And I'm happy I don't have to, read that chapter where Akrura is going to show his Krura form. I end it here on a sweet note where the Lord and his devotee has met, and it's a happy ending. So thank you so much, dear devotees. With this I end it here. Akrur ji ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Oh yes, wonderful question. So yeah, this is a practical problem we face. To repeat the question, Prabhuji is asking that how, it's not that we intentionally want to see fault in devotees, but it's just that we are regularly dealing with those devotees, and we'll end up definitely seeing them from close quarters, and we know what are their weak points and all, and then it gradually happens. So what should we do to maintain a right temperature and proper consciousness? So of course there can be so many, but to give a crisp answer, one way or practical tip is maybe we should also be in constant meditation of our faults. So sometimes what it happens is no harm in looking at faults, but we only keep looking their faults. If we can also add seeing our faults in it, it will help us a lot. Like making a list of what are our shortcomings, and then also having somebody in our lives who will show our faults. It will be such a boon. Of course, everybody can't have that privilege to have somebody up there, but especially for the leaders, to have somebody above them who will also help them regularly, because they're helping other devotees. And then there should be somebody up there who will also help us to see our faults. And because of course sometimes self-introspection is not that easy, but yeah, I think it's easy for grihasthas because you have your wife and husband, and I'm sure they help you for self-introspection very nicely. So that one advantage the grihasthas have, because even if the whole world thinks you are great, definitely your wife or husband will know how great you are, and they'll remind you time and again how great you are. So that's wonderful. That's one thing. And making a list. And also sometimes we can do it other way around. We can start making a list of all the qualities that we expect from others, in a very nice list, and then we just check it for ourselves, that do I have these qualities or not. So then our expectation goes down. That is one thing. And then that's it. When our connection with Krishna is not very strong, then only this thing happens. When we are very strongly connected to Krishna, and when the Shravanam and Kirtanam is going well, we all the more every moment understand that we are so hopeless. Actually, if the reading is going well, all the more every moment, the more you read, the more you understand, Hare Baba, there's so much to read, and there's so much to know, and then I don't know anything. The more you read, you understand. But the only problem is when you read less, then the whole problem comes. But when you read more, and then you read more, then you really understand that you don't know so much, and that makes us so humble. And so of course I can go on and on, but I think I want to take some more questions and see what the others want to ask. Okay, I just hope I understood the question properly. You said that when we deal with devotees in a community, don't we have to evaluate them? Otherwise, how will I know if I have to associate with this person or not, unless and until I evaluate him? Okay, now my answer is no harm in evaluation. Only thing is don't combine it. Even for our own sake, we should make sure that we have separated. We don't club them together. That means when we are seeing a person, we should understand in our mind, this is my observation about him, and this is my evaluation about him. And whatever my observation about him is not inspiring me in Krishna consciousness, so I think I will maintain a distance from this devotee. But I'm not going to, advertise about my evaluation or share it with others, and I'll always give benefit of doubt. That means, let's say I'm not very much inspired by this particular devotee out here, and according to my observation, and I don't think he's very serious in Krishna consciousness, so that's okay. I have understood in my mind, and I'm going to maintain a safe distance and also give him benefit doubt. Maybe I'm not able to understand. Maybe he's a very nice devotee. Maybe he's very sincere. But as of now, by his actions, I'm not very inspired. So I think I'll maintain a distance till I actually able to understand his behavior. Maybe I'm not able to interpret it in proper way. Since I'm not able to interpret in proper way, I may end up making Vaishnava offense. So I better keep a safe distance from that devotee as of now. That means I have not given a judgment. In my school, Divine Touch, that report card which you get at the end of the exam, we don't call it as a report card. We call it as an observation card, because we tell the parents that when I say that your child has got grade F or A or B, it's not my final judgment about your child's memory or his education status or his academics. It's my observation as of now. Maybe in future from F he may come to grade A or A plus also. I don't know. This is my observation. So we don't even call it evaluation report. We don't even call it report card. In my school at Divine Touch, it's only called observation. So this is a teacher's observation, and this is what it has been shared with the parents. But I don't judge the children who are studying the school. So same thing with us in our day-to-day life. This is my observation about the devotee. And that observation is not inspiring me, so I will maintain a distance till I am able to understand it in a proper way. That's about it. So we can do that. I hope it helps.
No, it does. So we can observe what is important to advertise what our evaluation is basically. Would that be the right understanding?
Okay, so did you say that I should not advertise about it? That this is what my evaluation about this devotee. Yeah, I should not advertise. At the same time, if it's not inspiring me, I can keep a distance. That's why I should not advertise it because maybe that's my interpretation of his behavior, and that's my interpretation of my observation, and I may not be always right because we are not complete, and we may not be knowing the other side of the story. So better we maintain, distance, and we don't advertise about it. Yeah.
Krishna is happy with our activities.
Okay, so your question is that how do we know every little thing that we do that Krishna is satisfied or not? Now, sometimes some things we can't keep evaluating piece-wise. Sometimes we have to do certain evaluation whole. Like you can't, for every small little thing we cannot, like today I offered this, will Krishna be happy or not? What we can do is at those times we can stick to principles, means following 4 rules and regulations, chanting our prescribed rounds and doing the prescribed seva given, doing our sadhana properly, maintaining a proper routine, and at least we should try to maintain that. And by doing that, we can connect to Krishna or access Krishna through elements of sadhana, because that's the level we are in as of now. Maybe later at some time we may come up to that level where Krishna will be actually reciprocating with us, but at least for now we can go on that basic elements of sadhana is our way to connecting to Krishna. So this is what we can do. So this is in regard to your small things that you said, that offering or on a day-to-day basis, and then little higher above that is your general sadhana card and seva has satisfied your mentor, counselor, Siksha Guru. And then you see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's example. So he says supervisor in the factory, one who is your immediate boss. So maybe there may be somebody who is your immediate mentor or somebody, and he is satisfied, and you are doing your things properly, and you are doing what you are supposed to do as a part of your sadhana schedule. Then definitely Krishna is satisfied. And sometimes you can't measure everything. Over a period of time you will measure it. You can measure it. That means if I want to see my son as he's become taller or not, I can't keep measuring him every day. But if I wait for 1 year, definitely I'll see there will be some difference. Every day if I measure, I'll be disappointed. I cannot understand whether he has grown taller or not. So every single thing we may not be able to measure, but at the whole you can see there will be definitely some changes and some improvement of us from last year to this year, or last month to this month, some improvement in sadhana, and overall we are happy. See, one thing so nice about this Krishna conscious process is that apart from our chanting and performing of devotional service, we also read scriptures regularly, and so we are doing very good. And somewhere if we are doing wrong, Paramatma actually guides us. and there'll be some kind of guilt conscious, and somewhere we'll feel bad, and we know it, we're not doing it correctly. That some kind of thing we'll feel, I didn't chant my rounds properly today, and when we know that Krishna is not satisfied, we've not done a good job. Today mind was going here or there, or today I was distracted. So we know very well. So certain help the Chaitya Guru is already giving inside. Certain help externally the other devotees are giving, our family members, and then certain help Siksha Gurus are giving, and then certain help Diksha Guru is giving. So altogether everybody is actually helping us in our spiritual journey. So we ourselves, and then others, and the Chaitya Guru, and following the sadhana and taking shelter of the elements of sadhana for now to understand if Krishna is satisfied or not. Probably because of occasional association with Narad Muni. Of course, his previous life he was a devotee, so we know that. And then of course his occasional association with Narad Muni in Mathura. So sometimes little association with a devotee also can make so much difference in your life. So maybe Narad Muni was instrumental maybe in connecting, and if there was somebody else so instrumental I'm not aware of, but this is what comes to my mind immediately. Okay. Okay, now I'll tell you something. Your question is that because we didn't knew about Akrura, we may have thought about him in a negative way and committed offense because we didn't knew about him. Now I'll tell you something. This word offense, we use it very loosely without actually understanding the definition of offense. Actually, we need to get some clarity on that. And often devotees use this word saying that I did like this and that devotee must have got offended, this person must have got offended. Actually, what is offense? Speaking about somebody in a negative way is not an offense, and I'll tell you why. When you speak about somebody in a negative way with a heart full of envy, with the agenda of pulling that person down, is offense. But if you have spoken negative to a person on one particular occasion due to some circumstantial situation because you didn't know what's the truth, is not offense. Offense means it's intentional. Offense means you are going on repeating it over a period of time, and you have an agenda. You are envious of that person. You want to pull that person down. That is when you are making some offense. Otherwise, imagine if every time you speak a negative way to any devotee, if it's offense, then we are doing offense all the time. Then how will we live in this world, And we are living in a world of finite resources. Definitely sometime we will speak something, in a negative way to somebody. Imagine you are with, one pot of payasam or kheer prasadam, and you just give it off to one devotee, and then you could not give it to other devotee because he came late, and then you say, I made offense. Imagine 24 hours if you're there, I'm making offense. How? Sometimes it's not possible. So only thing you need to check yourself is your negative thinking came because of a particular provocating situation or a circumstantial evidence or circumstantial situation that has prompted you to speak like that on one particular occasion is not an offense, because now you understood and now you're not going to do it again. So like for example, you didn't know about Akrura, but now you know and you're happy about it. So you have not made any offense to Akrura, but you are doing it with some malice and you have an ill intention and you are repeatedly doing it, and your negative speaking is not coming because of external reason, but it's coming even if there is no provocative situation. You are still negative about that person. You are still speaking wrongly about that person. That means it's coming from your heart. That means you're envious. Now that is an offense. So here, not knowing about some particular devotee and assuming something, and then again it's getting clarified, it's definitely not an offense. And this is also something to do with what we were speaking in the beginning of the lecture about observation and evaluation. That's why I said observation, evaluation, separate it and don't combine it. So that was your observation. Okay, Akrura is like that, and now after hearing you got the right evaluation. So that's about it. So that's it. So there is no offense. There's no offense. We don't know. Now we know. But you have not went ahead and wrote a book or article about Akrura saying that how cruel he is, and you didn't advertise about it. It's in your mind and you didn't know. But now you know, and now you will have reverence for Akrura, and there ends our matter. So it's not an offense. Oh, okay? Now let me understand the question. You are saying what will happen if we are doing offense unknowingly? Will we get reaction or not? Yeah. But your question is very nice. That what will happen if we are doing unknowingly offense? So offense definition I already gave. Now unknowingly offense. So offense itself will have a reaction, whether it's done knowingly or unknowingly, but offense will have a reaction. But if it's not an offense and you're assuming it to be offense, that's a different story, which I just said in my last answer. But if it's actually offense, then it's an offense, and you will have, like, you know what, even Akrura did an offense. You know what is the offense he did? He took Krishna away from the gopis. And then what happened as a reaction of that offense? Because that's what Jiva Goswami says, that because he offended the gopis, and that's why he was part of the conspiracy with the, Samantaka jewel. You know the whole story, right? Or you will be knowing soon in your Shravana week. You'll come to that chapter of the Samantaka jewel, and there you will suddenly remember me that Mataji was praising Akrura so much, and she should come back for explaining this chapter now. What has happened to Akrura? Why is he co-conspirating? And what is this whole thing about Shamantaka Jewel? So I'm clarifying beforehand. Don't get angry on me when you go to that chapter. Why she praised so much, and why is Akrura doing it? Because he offended the gopis, and unknowingly or knowingly, but he did that. So that's what Jiva Goswami says. So that's why he became a part of the conspiracy against Krishna for the Shamantaka Jewel episode. And what is the Shamantaka Jewel episode? You will know. And if you are very curious, you can just read right now. So that's my answer for that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna